Hey ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. As always, it is Nick here, back with your daily crypto news and analysis. And today we are going to be talking about Ripple and XRPs was the vast majority of crypto and finance. And guys, I have a video that is going to anger a lot of people in the US. So one thing that we have been focused on around crypto is obviously regulations. As we do look at regulations outside of the US, it has ignited and it's been spreading very fast. The UK, the UAE, Hong Kong, and many other areas are now moving very fast on crypto adoption, acceptance, and ultimately building out regulatory frameworks. Within the US, well, guess what we have? Well, we have the US president here saying that he won't agree to a debt deal protecting crypto traders. He also called us wealthy traders as well, which I'll talk about here in a second. But what's wild to me is that this is the state of the US at a time where almost all of these nations outside of the US are looking into crypto, doing the planning, understanding how they can overall implement it into their actual financial system. Like, they're not just looking at crypto as, oh, well, how can we do cross-border payments, or how can we do, no, they want to actually inject crypto into their financial system, to utilize it as a settlement mechanism, to utilize it for many things outside of even payments as well. I mean, they see Web3 and the overall opportunity that it brings with it. Meanwhile, the US is still trying to protect the bankers and Wall Street. And it's crazy to me that this is, where we are at right now. It really is something interesting at this current moment in time. After everything that we have been through, after everything that we have read this year, and even beforehand, it's crazy that the US is still throwing around this idea that like crypto is this, crypto is that. Like, remember all of the bank failures that happened this year. One of the biggest ones was Signature. And as we do look over here, like risky bet on crypto and a run on deposits tank Signature Bank. They blamed crypto, and this is from the New York Times. They blamed crypto for a lot of these bank failures, and they continue to try to tout it as well, saying like crypto is risky to the financial system. It's causing these bank failures. There's a lot of problems with this. Like, we need to make sure that we completely ignore crypto because it's not some great area of opportunity. It's a asset class that is only for those that are thieves and online criminals and money laundering. Yet they don't even bring up how the US dollar is utilized for all those things as well. It's wild to me. It truly is wild to me. And remember, right, that this was all a message. It was all a message to send to those that are in crypto and around crypto that, like, listen, you need to, like, things are going to wind down, and we're going to target crypto the best way that we possibly can. And we're going to make sure that everyone knows, what crypto actually is, which we all know is not the actual case. Like, they are trying to paint crypto as this fraudulent asset class that is filled with individuals that don't pay their taxes on crypto, that are utilizing crypto for, illegal online activity. Like, it's just ridiculous at this point. And also remember, as those negotiations were going on about who was going to buy up these banks, there was even a thing that the US government said that the bank would have to cease all crypto operations in order for it to be bought out. This is the state of crypto in the US right now. And let me ask all of you, does it feel like a fair market? Does it feel like this is, something that's actually getting treated within the best regulatory guidance and fair guidance as well? Because to me personally, no, it doesn't. And I don't even think the retail sector is being protected at this point. And I don't think that the retail sector was ever being protected either. Going all the way back 2.5 years now to the XRP case. And even before, Library, you got to remember that Library, that case was around before XRP, actually got hit with the lawsuit too. So even before XRP, we were seeing the retail sector get completely screwed over. This is a problem. And just so that you guys want to hear the video, here you guys have the video of Joe Biden actually saying this. Meanwhile, the debt ceiling, those wealthy crypto traders. Listen closely to this.
I'm not going to agree to a deal that protects wealthy tax sheets and crypto traders while putting food assistance at risk for nearly 1 million Americans. That protects wealthy tax sheets and crypto traders.
And shout out to Crypto Airy for that. But this is the absolute ridiculousness that's happening within the US. And this is the leadership that's in the US as well. So does it really beg the question on why we don't have regulations right now around crypto? Does it really beg the question on why crypto is being scrutinized right now and being targeted and being attacked? Like, it's just insane to me that this is the state of crypto in the US. It's honestly, it's shameful. It's sad. And I'm telling you right now, this is why the hole that the US has been digging for a very long time is only going to get deeper and deeper and deeper, because all of these other nations, well, guess what? They're looking into crypto. They're doing their research. They want to implement it into their financial system, and it's only a matter of time. Now, also over here, we do see Elizabeth Warren's bill won't stop money laundering, but it could ban crypto. This got updated May 18th. The Digital Asset Anti-Money Laundering Act that Senator Elizabeth Warren and Roger Marshall are pushing through Congress is a legislative equivalent of a Trojan horse, writes John Rizzo. It would effectively ban crypto in the guise of fighting money laundering. Last time that I checked, like I said, as we look at fiat currency, let me ask all of you out there, comment down below. How many times have you heard around illegal activity that the US dollar was tied to? And I mean physical US dollars. Also, think about credit cards. Think about stolen debit cards too. This happens all the time. Credit card fraud is a big thing. Anyone can hack into a bank account too. They don't even question any of that. There's attacks on fiat currency on a daily basis. There is the amount of criminals that are utilizing the US dollar right now, the cartel, these gangs. Think about all the illegal activity happening behind closed doors with the US dollar and even in the public. Yet it's crypto, and we need to make sure that we ban it because there's money laundering happening. It's absolutely ridiculous. And if there is money laundering, I question if it is the US government that's behind it. Remember, go look at SBF. Go look at FTX. What was happening with FTX? Oh yeah, that's right. There's money laundering involved. And guess who was backing it? A ton of politicians and elites. Down here, moreover, a recent report by the US Department of the Treasury on illicit finance risk in DeFi is clear that while money laundering using crypto assets does occur, those engaged in illegal activity still prefer to commit their crimes the old-fashioned way, through fiat currency. This is coming from the US Department of Treasury. I'm telling you, this is why everything within the US is not transparent. There's no clarity. Every single one of these agencies is going against one another. We have senators talking about crypto and how crypto is being utilized for money laundering. And there's so many, there's so much illegal activity happening around crypto. Yet here's the US Department of Treasury debunking that and saying that fiat currency is still the number one thing that is being utilized around these crimes. This is why we need clarity. This is why we need transparency within the US. And I honestly don't think that we're ever going to get it unless we actually have someone that's willing to put in the time and effort. And over here, we do see Elizabeth Warren is building an anti-crypto army. Some conservatives are on board. Remember this? This goes all the way back to February, actually, of this year. Yeah, well, ever since then, she's been on an absolute rampage. You guys probably remember this as well that I included in a video recently, and I actually even made a tweet about. We do see Elizabeth Warren wants the police at your door in 2024 if you are utilizing a crypto wallet. That means a DeFi wallet. It could be cold storage. It could be a ledger. It could be a Trezor. It could be any cold storage wallet. This is a big issue. And you know what's happening? All of these major politicians and these higher ups are all coming together and banding together to go against crypto and fight back against crypto because it needs to go away. There's too many, criminals tied to it. There's too many this there. To me personally, as we look at crypto, the US is looking at it as a major threat. And outside of the US, a lot of nations are actually looking at it as a very complementary technology asset class that could ultimately usher them in years and years and years into the future around finance and around many other industries and sectors. Yet guess what? Those that do embrace it will see that vision happen. Those that want to, stick to their guns and say, the banks are the best, the Wall Street is the best. Well, guess what? Those are the ones that will fall very, very far behind. And I do think that that's where the US is at right now. Now, also, shout out to Sam Lyman over on Twitter. We do see over here the fate of XRP and the entire US crypto industry could hinge on the Hinman documents. This got posted today. And this is a Forbes article written by Sam. And this is a big deal. First off, yes, I cannot wait to see these Hinman documents because this is going to be 100%, I have no doubt about this as well, 100% certainty how corrupt and manipulative the SEC is. And I honestly think that from these Hinman documents, we could possibly see the SEC be abolished, which would be the best case scenario. I see a lot of people calling for a restructuring, Gary Gensler to be fired. As we do really kind of look at that, like what's that really going to solve? The next guy that steps through those doors, do you honestly trust him? I remember when Gary Gensler got he got into the SEC chair position first out of the gate, and a lot of people were saying like immediately, he's the white knight. He's going to save crypto. He's going to save everything around. Like everyone thought it was so bullish because of his MIT speeches. Well, guess what? He completely did a 180 and screwed everyone over. But also over here, we do see the SEC may have bitten off more than it can chew in its campaign against XRP. I think that the best hope for this entire industry is either Ripple or Coinbase. Either one of these fighting back against the SEC and actually winning, hopefully both of them, will be huge for the entire industry. We do see over here within this article, though, there's a few things I do want to talk about. One, the Hinman documents. A significant hinge point in the SEC versus Ripple case is the internal deliberation that took place at the agency regarding the now infamous Hinman speech. In 2018, then SEC Director William Hinman delivered a speech in which he said neither Bitcoin nor Ether were securities. A declaration that appears to be at odds with the SEC's recent statements on the issue. Complicating matters further for the SEC, Judge Analisa Torres denied the agency's request that documents related to the Hinman speech be sealed. Her decision will give the public a look under the hood of the SEC's rulemaking process as it relates to digital assets. It's a big blow for the nation's top financial regulator. Why? Because the Hinman documents could shine a light on the SEC's thinking on crypto like never before. And we do see forcing the SEC's hand. So I just really want to focus on the quotes down here. So we do see down here, let me pause this ad. We know that some senior officials at the SEC discussed that there was a reasonable basis to conclude XRP was not a security, said John E. Deaton. And if the SEC staff believed XRP was not a security, it's reasonable for Ripple to believe the same. Indeed, recently released court documents reference communications at the SEC, including an email which says there are reasonable grounds to conclude that XRP does not satisfy all elements of the Howey analysis and is therefore not a security for purposes of the federal securities laws, which I did report on yesterday. Huge blow to the SEC, by the way. If the Hinman documents reveal more evidence of internal communications that contradict the SEC's current stance on digital assets regulations, it could be problematic for the agency both in the court of law and in the court of public opinion. Meanwhile, it could strengthen Ripple's argument that the lack of regulatory clarity surrounding digital assets caused the company to lack fair notice of what was prohibited under existing laws. And we do see ripple effects strengthening Coinbase's case. By the same token, the Hinman documents could also strengthen Coinbase's future litigation against the SEC. Coinbase arguably has an even stronger fair notice argument than XRP. That's because the SEC approved Coinbase's IPO in 2021, and it did so knowing full well that the company's business model was to list digital assets similar to XRP without a broker-dealer license to sell securities. This raises the question, why would the SEC have approved the IPO of a company selling digital assets to retail investors if the agency believed those assets to be unregistered securities? Well, my answer is very simple on this. They wanted the Coinbase to go live so that they can go after it, make a huge deal around it, and make an example of Coinbase. But I do think that this is going to backfire in their face, and I think that this is actually going to be very large. And also, by the way, this is crucial because guess what? I'm sure there's a ton of retail investors out there that invested into the Coinbase IPO, as well as a lot of those individuals that are holding assets on Coinbase as well. By the SEC targeting Coinbase, not only did they hurt investors of the Coinbase IPO, but they also hurt individuals that are investors on the Coinbase app. So to me personally, this is not protecting investors at all. And we do see either the SEC failed in its responsibility to protect investors 100%, or the internal consensus at the time was that these digital assets were not unregistered securities. Whatever the case, both the public and the crypto industry deserve to know. And yeah, I do think that we do. And I think that as we look at the SEC's argument point right now, there's a lot of problems here. There's a big issue. And I think that we are only getting more and more examples of just how screwed up the SEC actually is. And what do you see looking ahead? Whether it's the Hinman documents, the Coinbase IPO, or even Gensler's previous praise of a token he now considers to be a security, The SEC cannot escape past statements and actions that contradict its current positions, and the weight of those contradictions is increasingly apparent to the court. Case in point, Judge Torres has determined that the emails and documents related to the Hinman speech are judicial documents, which means she is likely to rely on them in rendering her final decision. If Judge Torres ultimately rules in favor of Ripple, the decision would provide a critical legal precedent for the industry. It would insulate digital assets similar to XRP from being automatically labeled as securities by the SEC, and it would all but force the agency to back down from its regulation by enforcement approach that is driving crypto investment offshore. And yeah, I think that this is a huge deal. I think that everyone, listen, I think that Johnny Deaton actually stated it perfectly over on Twitter. And that's this. I can't wait for those emails to be released. I predict even non-XRP holders, including Ripple critics, will have to objectively say that what the SEC did is flat out wrong. The inquiry about the motive behind this lawsuit will go into a higher gear. Mark my words. And yes, as we do look at what's happening around this case, everyone, and I mean everyone, I don't care if you are an XRP hater, I don't care if you hate XRP, I don't care if you only hold Bitcoin, I don't care if you are a maxi around any other coin. These emails are so critical because what we will see from these emails is blatant outright corruption and manipulation of these markets. The Hinman speech itself, right? If we look at that, we go back in time and we look at the comparison of XRP and Ethereum and the overall the overall price action, even performance itself, and also even the actions from the actual companies that are sourcing these assets. I mean the Ethereum Foundation and even Ripple, because again, these are two companies that are actually sourcing the power of specific assets. We already know Ethereum Foundation is utilizing Ethereum. We know Ripple is utilizing XRP for a lot of its internal operations. The overall consensus that I have is the performance difference between XRP and Ethereum. We know XRP was holding the number 2 spot. We know XRP was a very large asset, still is a very large asset, and it was right on par with outpacing Ethereum. Once this overall speech came out, we seen Ethereum bounce back and ultimately be at the point where it's at now, which is extremely high in value. It hit $550 billion worth of value in the last bull run. And where did XRP go? That's right, XRP didn't even make a new all-time high because it got stifled by the SEC. It got perfectly targeted by the SEC. And remember that this case itself is all a weapon to stifle that growth, stifle that innovation, and ultimately delay. Remember what I said. It's all a major delay tactic. And as you do look at it, right, everything that we are seeing around the US, everything that we are seeing about these, huge articles talking about how risky crypto is and how crypto's this, it's all to set a narrative. That narrative is that crypto is all illegal, it's all risky, you need to make sure that you stay away from it. They're going after these exchanges, they're cutting off the liquidity at its source, and guess what? They're also delaying the most important litigation case around crypto right now that's been happening for 2.5 years, all while we are seeing JP Morgan, Fidelity, BlackRock, all these major high elite companies and bankers, etc. They're all coming together to create these, blockchain initiatives and blockchain, solutions. Did you ever question why? They want to compete within this market and they want to make sure that they are the winners at the end of the day because they are all greedy for control, power, and ultimately money. So with that being said, I cannot wait to see these emails. I do think that they are going to be extremely damning, and I think that they are going to be very large for the overall industry, not even just XRP and Ripple, for the entire industry, and I cannot wait. So with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, definitely leave a like, subscribe, turn notifications on because more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord down in the description below. As always, hope that you all have a beautiful day or a beautiful night. Wherever you guys are on this before, this has been Nick. Peace out, guys.